Today's topic is what are your rights if you're injured while a passenger in an Uber vehicle, Lyft or rideshare vehicle, or even a taxi for that matter. Rideshare apps are obviously very popular. Lots of people use that for transportation. While most drivers drive appropriately, sometimes, unfortunately, even when you're a passenger, you could be involved in an accident. People often wonder, okay, what are my rights now? Who do I make a claim against? Who's going to pay for my injuries or my losses, like my time off work, my wage loss, medical bills, and other expenses? These are unique also because, very often the driver of the vehicle you're in might say, hey, it wasn't my fault, it was the other person's fault. And maybe you're seated in the back seat and you're reading something, or you're checking your phone, or you're doing work. Oftentimes the passenger doesn't even know actually how the accident happened. When you're a passenger in a vehicle like this, the important thing to know is you do have all of the same rights and remedies as a victim of a car accident. That means you would still be eligible for no-fault benefits. These are benefits that come to you immediately to pay for some of your immediate losses after an accident. More significantly, you would have the right to make a claim for your pain and suffering, your loss of enjoyment of life, and any economic losses you might sustain. So any wage loss, any medical expenses, any services, both in the present and whatever you may have to incur into the future. And so the question becomes, who pays for those benefits? Who pays for those losses? It's really going to depend on who's at fault. And if it's multiple drivers or vehicles that were at fault, then that will be the role of your lawyer to try to investigate and determine who's at fault and advance those claims appropriately. So in our practice, very often when we represent passengers, very often the claims are asserted or brought against both or all the vehicles involved in the accident, including the one that you're a passenger in. As information comes to light, we start to see it becomes clearer which party bears more responsibility. But very quite often, both insurance policies, meaning the vehicle that you're in and the other vehicle, would contribute to your losses. Okay, so if one vehicle is 90% at fault and another is 10% at fault, and your claim was worth $100,000, you could expect $90,000 from the one that has 90% fault, and $10,000 from the vehicle that has 10% of the fault. Okay, and the mix could be any. So some important steps you can take to help preserve your rights or help make your claim move more efficiently after an accident where you're in an Uber or a Lyft or other rideshare vehicle. Number one, make sure the drivers call the police. Insist on it. Even if they want to drive away and just exchange information, you're going to need a police report for yourself. So insist that the police are called and that a police report is completed. Number two, if you can, take photographs. Photograph the vehicles, especially because you don't own or have access to any of these vehicles. You want to take photographs of these vehicles so you know the make and the model and the plate numbers, so we can easily identify which car you were in, who the operator was, who owns the vehicle, etc. If the drivers are willing to share with you their information, like driver's licenses or insurance information, get it, record it, take photographs of that as well. Write down the names of any witnesses and the involved parties. Of course, seek medical attention. After an accident, no matter if it's a significant accident or a minor accident, you could be hurt. Some injuries are immediately apparent, others aren't. They're latent. Adrenaline is going, you might not realize the extent and severity of the injuries, so it's really important to get checked out for yourself. Speak to a lawyer early. Ask any and all questions you might have. Let the lawyer get the details and help you make really an informed decision on what your rights are after an accident. Once a lawyer gets involved in your case, you can expect your lawyer to investigate it. So they will initially get the police report. They will give notice to the involved parties. They'll send out preservation letters so that evidence is preserved and can be inspected and reviewed. They will initiate the claims on your behalf. Depending on where the case goes, if litigation ensues, they'll obviously be there for you to protect you and take you through each and every step of the litigation so that you can get fair and adequate compensation for your losses. I really can't stress enough how important it is for passengers in rideshare vehicles or taxis to get information to identify the vehicles, drivers, things like that. For instance, oftentimes people find themselves in a rideshare taxi when they're on their way to the airport. They might be visitors and they're going back home. And so even though they might be feeling some pain and discomfort, they want to catch their plane and they want to get back home. And they think, I'll see my doctor when I arrive back home. They get another Uber to come to the scene or another taxi to come to the scene of the accident so that they don't miss their plane. We've had those cases, and they can be challenging where the person has left before the police arrived. They might not be recorded on the police report, and then it becomes very difficult to identify the parties. Maybe the vehicles never reported it to the police after you left. If you can, stay on scene and get the police report, but at the very least, even if you can't stay, make sure you get information, because that'll go a long way to helping your lawyer identify the parties involved and advancing a claim for you. Also, if you're involved in an accident where you're a passenger in one of these rideshare vehicles, it might be a situation where you don't have any of your own insurance. Maybe you don't have your own car, your own insurance. You don't live with anyone with insurance. Are you still entitled to, or are you still able to get no-fault benefits? And the short answer is yes. Even as a passenger, even if you don't have your own insurance, if you're involved in an accident as a passenger, you still have access to no-fault benefits. I'll also touch upon, what if you're the actual driver in one of these ride shares and the accident wasn't your fault? It was another vehicle. Maybe it rear-ended you while you were carrying a passenger. Do you also have a right to compensation for your injuries? And the answer is yes. You also enjoy those rights. So even if you're an Uber driver and you're involved in an accident and it's not your fault, we're happy to talk about the specific details of your case. They may be a little different. There's certain things we would have to investigate in terms of insurance coverage in that situation where you're operating your vehicle as part of your work. With few exceptions, you would also be entitled to make a claim. With the popularity of rideshare apps these days, it's really common that people get injured in car accidents where they're a passenger. You probably have lots of questions. If you do, feel free to reach out to us. Our telephone lines are open to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or you can request a free consultation on our website. We're happy to have a free consultation with you to answer your questions. Thanks for watching.